2 of Advent of Code. Let's get going. So today is going to be day 2. We're going to do it in Go. Let's make a new folder for this. If it's noisy, that's my dog is in my office now. Some water in here that he's going to drink at some point, and it's going to be loud, so apologies for that. All right, so what do I need to do? Copy. Template. Why can't I copy that? Template into 02. Cursive. All right, so now we will where's why is my VS Code not working? This is not a good start. This is very strange. There's stuff in here, right? Let's pop it open on a different screen. Terminal's not working. Huh. Well, this is some troubleshooting that I didn't want to have to do today. So while I'm trying to figure that out, we can look over the problem. So I read this a little bit yesterday. What we got is there's going to be, looks like a list of, here, let's open the puzzle input. Yep, a big long list of coordinates of boxes. We need to find out, there's dog. Here, let me mute. He's so loud. He's just so loud, and I don't know why he's so loud, but he just is. He appears to be done. All right, so I don't know what's up with my VS Code. Let me see if I can pull in my this is what happens half the time when trying to get stuff done, is all the things that should be working don't work. Let's see if I can open this folder with VS Code this way. Ah, all right, got it working. All right, so I'm going to, so this was from that template. I'm going to, so we're going to be getting, this is our input. Control Alt copy, paste that there. And why don't we, in this input test, grab one of these and grab the other one, just so that we can test what those two should be. main go, it's going to pull those in. Our function is going to be load input. We're going to be using the string input test.txt. All right, so that's what it'll call, and the question is, what should it return? What I would like it to return, and this is, so we want it to be an array of numbers for each line, so that we can do stuff like sort that from smallest to largest, because we are going to have to figure out what the smallest size is, because it says the little elves need a little extra paper in the area of the smallest side. So we're going to have to sort this so that we can get, in this case, the 2 and the 1 and identify what the smallest size is. So can't do that with strings. We can do that with integers. However, when we read this file, it's going to be strings. So let's say that what we want is going to be so this right there, so the array or slice or whatever it is should be a slice containing slices that are filled with integers. And we will populate that with what we think should come from that test case. Let's look at those again. Okay, so we got 2, 3, 4. So int, I think this is what it'll be, 2, 3, 4, and then another one of 1, 1, 10. All right. It's got a problem with that. Syntax. Maybe they're curly braces. Yeah, it seems happy with that. Let's try that. What was it? 1, 1, 10. Okay. So save that and let's test it. Of course, it'll fail. Go test. Ugh, that's ugly. Okay, that's what it expects. However, what it got was a string. That makes sense because I think that's what sort of the default is. So we're going to have to change it from strings to ints. We're going to have to get rid of these x's and change these numbers here to integers. All right, so now that we know what we need to do, we're going to still pass in string. We're going to return int. That's what we want, right? We're going to input. Oh, let's see. The input was going to be what we wanted to come out of this. Because it's the input that we're putting in. All right, so that's what we want to come out. I don't think that this read file is going to work. Let's so on the last problem, it was just one single line. This is going to be multiple different lines. So I really do think that we're going to have to read this file differently. So let's what am I doing? Let's learn how to do that real quick. I know that I am not good at that. So this is a person who doesn't know how to do it. know that there's some sort of buff.io scanner that I've seen before. Here. All right. So okay. So this is what we're going to sort of model it off of. This is what they're returning, I think. So they're going to return, they're going to end up with the buffer. That's the final thing. And the blocks are the individual lines. So let's style our solution off of that. We'll call that block 2. Block equals, and then we're going to be doing int. Though it's going to be a string at first, isn't it? We'll see. We'll see. All right. So let's call this scanner is buffio new scanner. Well, do we need some sort of a file here? So that's not right. All right, let's look at a different one. More Stack Overflow. But how are we opening up the file? I feel like there should be like a file that you're opening. Did I say file? I don't want to read this. There, okay. There we go. I like that. Let's make this a little smaller. So that's just the file. File error. I knew that there was something like that. All right. Equals OS open. And we'll pass in our file name from the top. And we will, they should be doing something, defer, I think it's called. Defer, which is something that will close that file that's open. File close. Yeah. So this will happen at the very end after all the operations are done, and then we also remember that we make this a little bigger. Remember that we have this check error up here, so we're going to check error in case we get an error in opening that file. Okay, we've dealt with those things. Now we've got scanner equals buffio new scanner, and that'll be the file. And then we're going to, let's get rid of this. We're going to iterate through that scanner for scanner scan. Let's get rid of that for scanner.scan. So that should sort of iterate through those lines, I believe, because that's what it looks like here. The line. So let's recall that this line equals txt. So this will be the text of the scanner. Now the problem is that we don't necessarily want that. Let's change this real quick to string, because we're going to make this first array a string. So what we have is, I think that there is a I'm sure there is a Golang split function. So we're going to take this string. Yeah. So we're going to make this block instead of line. And that's not going to work, right? Because, let's see. So this currently is just once a string, but we're going to just be getting a regular string and not an array or a slice of strings. But what we can do is strings dot split, and this will be the input scanner text, and we will split it on X. I think that works. Okay, so right now we should have something like this with our strings in it, but we don't want that, right? What we want is, we're going to change this back to line, this back to int, because what we want is, what we want is integers. And so we've got this line that we've made into what is invalid type? Oh, this should be up here. Or I guess more appropriately, this should be down here. Because we got for scanner, scan, and then we're going to do the stuff. Line equals that. I don't know why it's not happy about it. I'm not using input yet, but why is it mad about line? Oh, because I need a brace there. All right, so here we go. Lines declared but not used. String split. Why don't we have split? Strings split. Save it. It should import that. There we go. Imports it. Okay, so we're good. We have a line. Now what we're going to want to do is turn that into integers. So let's make another function real quick. Func string to int, we'll call it, and we will pass in an array of string, and we will output an array of integers and braces. What we want to turns out is an empty array of int. And then we're going to say for val equals range. So it's going to range over. Hold on, we need to name this. I'm not using very good names here. So it's going to range over the start value, and it's going to put because we've got an index here that we have to deal with. All right, so this is a string, And what we need to do is there's some string conversion. Just make sure that we're doing it right. I think it's string converge, str conv. Okay, good. And a to I is it takes in a string and returns an int. Oh, and an error. And we're going to put in val, which is the value we're getting. And then we will check error. And this is now an int and return val, and so we'll append that int val onto that return val. So this should iterate over this set of strings, turn each of those strings into an int, as long as there's not an error, and append that. So we should return a list of ints, or a string slice, or an array slice, whatever, of ints. Okay, so now we've got this line, which is our set of strings. We could pass that. Let's close block. Equals, and then we will string to int this value, which we know is that, and this block is a list of ints. All right, so we, on this line, so as we go through each of the line, at this point we have block, which we've converted that list. We've taken out the x's, and we've turned it into a list of integers, or an array of integers. Now we can return, or we got to, what do we got to do? Let's add that onto, what's the problem here? Block is declared but not used. I sure did use it. Oh, I haven't actually used it. Okay, so let's add that, append that onto input block. All right, and then we'll return input. So let's, I think that should do it. Let's see, test. No, build failed. What's wrong? Int to int. Cannot use data type int as type. Oh, it's down here. Okay, because data is going to return int. So what we need to do is change this to int so that should allow that to be passed in. Haha, all right, good. Now one thing that I wasn't, what's wrong here? Why is it mad at me? I'm using it. I guess I could just put that whole stupid thing in there. But one thing I'd like to do is maybe I can, let's see if I can sort that slice there. I don't know if it's a slice. Just sort. Sort.ints. Let's see. See if it imports that. Oh, that might be something you have to do by yourself. block, so it's just going to rearrange that. All right. So let's see. It should work. Now let's see if I change this to have 10 here. Oh. And 1 here. If that will, because that should still output it the same, right? Because it should sort those. So let's save those and test those, and if it works. All right, so it's sorting them. So now we should be able to count on our first value of index 0 of that array always being the smallest one. All right, so now we can move on to part 1, making some tests for part 1. You know, making the you know, reading the file as the, you know, in the way that you can actually use is probably the longest and most important part, because now we're just going to be passing in that data. We'll just know what to do with it, right? So part 1, just call data equals load input. Will load it up here so that we can just call data, just like we're doing for the other part. Okay, and what we want is 58 here to be the result. All right, 58 to be the result. Ooh, that's too many. 58. Oh, no, that's not going to work, is it? Because it's only going to do one at a time. So it's going to do both of these, right? So what's 58? I wonder if I can just do this. 58 plus 43, because that's what the answer to the bottom one is. All right, let's see if that works. Go test, fail. Okay, good, 1 and 1. Now let's go back to our stuff here. We might not have time for all of this today. So we want to return an int. That's one thing. Let's just say 1 to get ourselves unstuck here. Okay, so we're going to be passing in the int. First, we need a total paper. And we'll set that to 0. And then let's call it line. I don't know if we'll actually need this. And here I'm referring to the line. Actually, I don't want to call this here because I don't want to. I'll initialize that within my loop so that it resets every time. Okay, so let's range over our, let's just say data. So remember we have our index here that we're not going to use. Line in range data. All right, so each line now we should have that array of three different numbers ordered, right? And we'll say line paper is equal to, okay, and this is just going to be so again, we know that the first number is the smallest number, right? So line 0 is that first one. So we'll multiply that by 3 because we're doing it times 2, then plus another one. I don't know why this is in. Let's. Okay, this will be 2, 2, 2, 1. Okay, so this isn't terribly readable, but this should give us our integer that is the first number in the array, the smallest number times 3 because we have that extra stuff, and then the other two entries times 2 as they're doing there. Wait, no. No, I have to do combinations. Okay. So length times width, width times height, height times length. So each of these three numbers I'm going to be multiplying by each other. I'm sure that there is in Go a thing that does combinations. No, I'm not going to accept all your cookies. Necessary. None of the other ones. Okay. Generate combinations. I don't want to brute force things. All right. What's a chain string? Why isn't there a library? I know that there is like a permutation thing in Python, which I assume is similar. Giving a string away. Okay, so we don't want this. That's for sure. Do you know why that this is wrong, right? So, you know, I'll just brute force it, right? So we've got side 1 so side 1 is also going to be the small side. We'll call it side 0. Because we have these ordered, we could say line 0, right, of the index, times line 1. Right, because we ordered them regardless of what the numbers are, those first two numbers should be the smallest. So when we multiply the two smallest numbers together, we should get our smallest side. So let's side 1, side 2. So we got 0, 1, 1, 2, and 2, 0. All right, so those are our three sides. Now I'll just change this so we know this is our smallest side. So that should actually be the size of the paper. And then what we'll do is total paper equals, what do we usually do? Total paper, maybe this append. Why is this giving me a problem? Oh, because we're not adding, we're just, that's right. We gotta do plus equal line paper. All right, and then we're gonna return total paper. All right. So let's go ahead and test it. If we did everything right, good, we get our good result. All right, so let's actually run it with our data. Go run main.go. All right, should we try it? Paste. Submit. Ah, we got our gold star. All right, good job, everyone, including me. First stop. All right, have the part. They usually, yeah, they get screwed at the second part. How long am I can go? 35. All right. Elves are running low on ribbon. Ribbon is all the same width, so they only need to worry about the length, which they would like to be exact. The ribbon required to wrap present is the shortest distance around its side or the smallest perimeter. All right. So let's go to this. Get rid of this junk. Save part 2. And part. Okay, so we'll still load the input. Part 2 data. All right. So we need to find the shortest perimeter, which would be so we got 2, 3. Okay, so what we would do is we would have the two and a bow. Okay, the feet required for the is equal to the cubic feet. You'll never tell. Okay. So for the ribbon that's going to wrap around the present, what we need to do is find, so all we'll need is the 2 shortest ends, right? So for in this example, 1 by 1 or 2 and 3, and find the perimeter, which instead of area being 2 times 3, it's just 2 times 2 plus 3 times 2, right? So add them up, times 2. 2 plus 3 times 2. All right, so then with the ribbon, right, so this for the ribbon and 2 times 3 times 4 for the bow. All right, that should be easy enough, right? So let's add in these amounts, 34 for this one and 14 that they gave us for the other one. Save, tested, it fails. That's weird. Oh, I got rid of my curly brace here. Try it again. It's gonna fail, obviously. All right, so let's get on it. We're gonna return an int. Start with, just call it total ribbon, because we're gonna do it for all of them. All right. Ribbon equals 0. We're starting with it. We could probably, pull some of this just because we know that this is iterating through. All right. Can call this data. All right. So we'll call what do they say? Just to wrap. We'll call one wrap. Wrap equals those 2 shortest sides. So we're going to add them together. Use a plus. And then we will 2 times that. Okay. Why are they mad about that? times that. All right, so that's the wrap, and then we're gonna have a bow, which is, oh shoot, I should have. Let's get rid of these. Since we're gonna still need this. Or oh, right. Okay. Yeah, no. I was going to think that all wrong. Okay. So this is what I would have done before, right? Bow is line 0, line 1, and then line 2. It won't be times 2. Get rid of those times 2's. And we will multiply them. All right, so we got the wrap now and the bow now. And let's say equals wrap plus bow, and all right, I think that is it. Let's test it. No. Why did it fail? Undefined. $66. That's my dog drinking again. Do I need to call it actually? What's wrong? That's wrong. Okay. So passed, I needed to have it actually asking for it. All right, so let's run it. See what we got. Oh, should have called this part 2 just to make it pretty. Run it again. And we will paste this in, copy, paste, submit. Haha, we did it. All right, one more gold star. All right, so that's it for today. Lunchtime is over. We did that nice and longer than the last time, but still within lunch. All right, so that's all I got there. Tomorrow, I hope you will join me back for day 3 of this 2015 Advent of Code. All right, take care, everyone.